Watu wangu, welcome back to another episode of Adventure Kenya with Edu. Leo nataka tupige kambi on the Ngong Hills bana jo. So tukianza, the Ngong Hills are peaks in the ridge along the Great Rift Valley located southwest near Nairobi, watu wangu, in the southern Kenya. The word Ngong is an anglicization of a Maasai phrase Ngong Emunyi, meaning rhinoceros spring, and this name derives from a spring located near Ngong town manze. So tukiangalia manze on the Ngong Hills bana, from the east side slopes overlook the Nairobi National Park and off to the north the city of Nairobi manze watu wangu. The Ngong Hills from the west side slopes overlook the Great Rift Valley, dropping over 1,000 meters bana below the Maasai villages manze. The peaks of the Ngong Hills is 2,460 meters watu wangu be above the sea level. During the years of British colonial rule, the area around the Ngong Hills was a major settled farming region. Hiyo ni story tu kidogo manze, and the many traditional colonial houses are still seen in the area ukitembea huku manze. So tukiangalia in the 1985 film of Out of Africa, the four peaks of the Ngong Hills appear in the background of several scenes near Karen Bixen's house. Local residents still report seeing lions in the hills during the 1990s manze. Yani watu wangu, the solitary grave of Dennis Fitch Hitton, marked on the Opelsik of Garden, is located on the eastern slopes of the Ngong Hills, overlooking the Nairobi National Park manze watu wangu. There is a walking trail along the tops of the Ngong Hills. Kenya Forest Services has posted at the foot of the park manze, where the fee is charged kwa wale wase wenye tunaenda huku for touring man. Local residents have sometimes held church services on the southern peak overlooking the Great Rift Valley. So the near the hills is the town of Ngong watu wangu, kwa wale wenye tumetembea Ngong town. The Ngong Hills Wind Power Station, the first wind farm in the country, which was completed in 2015. The Kenya Forest Services offer guidance and security to accompany hikers for extra fee wale. Jumanzi lazima ulipie huku man. Ngong Hills Mbagathi Water Resource Users Association, Ngong Hills Mbagathi, has been making the Ngong area water catchment area better by planting indigenous trees and town cleaning activities. Ngong water catchment watu wangu area covers Dogodo, Kibiko, Ololua, Ngong Hills Forest Reserve and the Nairobi National Park watu wangu. It is a water catchment area for several important rivers also. Manze ndo story ndogo tu ya overview kidogo ya the Ngong Hills manze. As we move manze, tukiangalia sapa tuangalie the formation of this Ngong Hills bana. Formation van design yenye the Ngong Hills came man. So tukitembea the formation part of the Great Rift Valley nikiwaambia escarpment, the Ngong Hills are actually the remains of a massive volcano which formed from basalt lava between 5 and 6 million years ago watu wangu. Sijui hapo ulikuwa wapi manze. That's the formation of the Ngong Hills kidogo. Tukiangalia how the name of Ngong Hills came bana. Jina Ngong ilikujaje watu wangu. So hapo jina Ngong Hills, na unaelewa Ngong Hills ni jina ya imetokana na Wamasai huko like literally. So tuangalie kidogo about the forest reservation because Ngong Hills iko na msitu bana. So tukiangazia the Ngong Hills Forest bana. Ngong Hills Forest Reserve is the protected area of the large Ngong Hills, Ngong, Kenya. The reserve is located on the south tip of the Rift Valley region, 25 kilometers away from Kenya's capital city of Nairobi, with the tallest peak standing at the altitude of 2,460 meters above the sea level. It is the highest point in Ngong, watu wangu. So tukiangalia the nearest city on the Ngong Hills bana, hore watu wangu ni Nairobi. Area ni 21,105 square kilometers. That's the area yenye the Ngong Hills imekava. So established manze ama this place was established ama iligunduliwa in the 1981, 43 years ago, like established, like ile like kuigundua like unaelewa. So the history about this place kidogo ni Ngong Hills Forest Reserve dates back in 1981 when it was officially gazetted by the government of Kenya as a forest reserve. So the forest reserve is situated on 21,000 kilometers square of an adulterating terrain along the narrow-shaped Ngong Hills, the highest point of the terrain in the Ngong Hills, standing at an altitude of 2,160 kilometers above the sea level bana. So tukiangalia climate ya hii Ngong Hills, the climate of the reserve is mainly humid and semi-arid, with a patches of humid climate around the Ngong Hills themselves. Short rains occur between October and December, while long rains between March and May bana. Manze tukiangalia biodiversity ya Ngong Hills, manze vegetation, the eastern side of the hills are predominated by montane dry forest and wooded grassland, while the western side is primarily made of bushlands. Kwa wale wetu tumetembea huko can bear witness bana. Tukiangalia wildlife huku manze, the wildlife of Ngong Hills Forest Reserve mainly consists of buffaloes, vervet and colobars, monkeys, baboons, duckers, bush pigs, waterbucks and leopards bana. Leopards are however most found on the remnant of the indigenous forest along the river valleys. Huku mtoni bana, ukitembea huko chini kwenye wengine wetu hatufiki bana, huko hatufiki. Tukiangalia about tourism huku manze, on the Ngong Hills, a very pretty neighborhood on the edge of the thick wood behind which dwelt the dreaded people of the Kikuyu. Sorry. While on the south stretch, first pasture tenanted by the great herders of cattle belonging to the Masai manze. Na hapo ndo about overview kidogo ya Ngong Hills bana jo. So tuangalie our main point kidogo, tuangalie ni the wind power station bana. So the Ngong Hills tunakuanga na the turbines bana, the Ngong wind power station. And tukiangalia kidogo on this Ngong Hills wind power station, also Ngong Hills wind farm is a wind powered power station in Kenya manze, located on the Ngong, Kajiado County bana. So the commission date of this Ngong Hills ilikuwa 1993 by the Kenya Electricity Generating Company bana. So look, tukiangalia location yake, the power station is located in the northern foothill of Ngong Hills near the town of Ngong in Kajiado County, approximately 35 kilometers by road manze, southwest of Nairobi, the capital largest city in Kenya. So the wind is strongest in the evening venye nimewaambia manze hapo awali, and in the March, and weakest in the morning and in July, contrasting with Lake Turkana wind power station bana. So history kidogo ya Ngong Hills power station ni it was initially commissioned in 1993 venye nimewashow, with 2 wind turbines donated by the government of Belgium. After those 2 turbines were retired, the installation of new hardware led to a second commission in August 2009 with the capacity of 5.1 megawatts. Beginning in 2013 Kenya Electricity Generating Company, who owns and operates the wind farm and power station, began adding new turbines, and by 2015, when the work was completed, the power station generated capacity had increased to 25.5 megawatts So hiyo ndo history kidogo ya Ngong Hills turbines manze, kwa wale wase tumefika huko. And then sasa tuangalie the historical and cultural significance bana of this Ngong Hills bana. So tukiangalia historical and cultural significance bana, so the Ngong Hills are a popular hiking trail location for visitors bana. The trail runs all the way along rich peaks of the Ngong Hills as far as Magadi Road near Kona Baridi, an estimated 11.5 kilometers. The hills provides an impressive extended viewpoint. The summit of the hills is marked by Point Lomwia, 2,483 meters above the sea level, which offers stunning 360 degrees view of the Great Rift Valley to the west, Nairobi National Park to the east, and Nairobi suburbs to the northeast bana. So manze, watu wangu, the Ngong Hills will organize hikes on the hills, not only to encourage restoration of the forest but also to boost the health hikers bana. So ukienda huko ni kupiga tu exercise bana, mwili yako ikuwe fiti na ukuwe tu fiti kabisa. So tukimalizia tuangalia the popularity of this bana, of this Ngong Hills bana. The popularity inajulikana aje, kunaenda aje. And then so the popularity of this Ngong Hills is the protection of the environment is a key restoration focus area manze. We intend to have more trees planting session to ensure that we play our part in restoring this forest from which a club's name is derived. Apart from being a forest reserve, the Ngong Hills are of a great historical and cultural significance to the Maasai people, who knows them as Olidonyio, Ololeisa, the mountain of the Leisa, one of the clans of the Maasai from which the famous Loibon Olonana was descended. Restoring the forest will thus contribute to the preservation of the Maasai culture. Manze watu wangu, na hiyo ndo history kidogo on the Ngong Hills. Hapo ndo hiyo ndo kidogo tungeangalia. And then until next time, let's keep in touch. And this is the read about Ngong Hills. Until next time watu wangu, asante sana.